When you think about the drawbacks to a 401k, you have limited choices. You're paying fees to somebody. You're still making all the choices in there. There's really nothing you can do to benefit in a down market. So a number of things that make the 401k probably not the best thing to have in retirement, but it's something that probably the best thing about it is that it forces you to put some money away for retirement.
Yeah.
And maybe even a better thing is that if you have a match, a company match, that's free money.
Al, as we finalized this show here today on this last segment. We talked a lot about retirement accounts, what people can potentially use in their retirement accounts, whether it's options, futures, or forex. Now we got to get into and tie it all together. How does somebody do that on their own? And it's
Mhm.
called self-directing. It's taking over your own 401k or IRA, but doing that with the confidence. Now, I know you've helped a lot of people do that. You've helped a lot of people get started and maybe moving a 401k. Because if you have an old 401k, say with an old employer, there's opportunities to roll that into an IRA. So let's talk about that. What are some ways and some potential techniques people can use when self-directing their retirement accounts?
Yeah. Before we even go into that, though, let me just say something about the 401. When we talk about 401ks, we're talking really about all of the employer-sponsored retirement plans. If you have one, how are you managing it? In fact, did you even know you could manage it? So maybe we should start there. And in these classes, we talk about dynamic 401k management, how you can use that timing strategy to maybe have better returns with the what you have available in your 401ks. A number of things you can do that you're probably not aware of. Now, most of our students at some point in time will look at moving that 401k into a self-directed IRA. If you leave a company for any reason, you can take that 401k money with you by transferring it. You can transfer it either into a new company 401k or into a self-directed IRA. When you think about the drawbacks to a 401k, you have limited choices. You're paying fees to somebody. You're still making all the choices in there. There's really nothing you can do to benefit in a down market. So a number of things that make the 401k probably not the best thing to have in retirement, but it's something that probably the best thing about it is that it forces you to put some money away for retirement.
Yeah.
And maybe even a better thing is that if you have a match, a company match, that's free money.
Yeah.
But instead of putting additional money in past that match, or when you leave a company, instead of leaving it in the 401k, look at a self-directed IRA for these reasons. Number one, you eliminate fees, which could cost you, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have the opportunity to use the assets we've been talking about: futures, the foreign exchange market, the options market. You have strategies that can give you the opportunity to benefit in a down market as well as an up market and a sideways market. You can have that insurance on a portfolio in a self-directed IRA. And you're already making choices in your employer-sponsored retirement plan. So don't fear making those choices in a self-directed IRA. It's just that you're doing it now and you're not paying the fees. You could have the same investments that you have in your employer-sponsored plan if you want to, but why would you do that if there are potentially better choices out there? Choices that again will benefit you in different market conditions. Choices that have that leverage that allow your capital to give you a maximum benefit from that capital.
Now, let me ask you this. I mean, if you were, and you used to be in the industry, you used to
Yes,
be an advisor back, a few years back, right?
many years back.
I won't say how many years, but no, anyways. So if you were managing, several hundreds of
Correct.
people's
That's right.
accounts and not really managing it, but, dictating what happens there, could you at that time focus on each person's objective?
Well, there's no way you can do that. If you have several hundred clients, and most financial advisors that have been around for a while do, it could be two, three, maybe 400 clients. Well, the ideal thing you could do for each individual would be to put together a portfolio specific to them one that could be you could manage on a regular basis for protection. Make sure that if one portion of that portfolio wasn't performing, you could rotate into something that was. But you can't do that if you have several hundred clients. So it's easy to put somebody into a managed account like a mutual fund, or maybe a one of a set of portfolios that a brokerage firm might have.
That's why it's so important to understand the techniques and strategies to self-direct. That way, as Al is talking about, that way you can potentially set up a portfolio that is specific to you. If you want to learn more about self-directing, how to set up that portfolio that could be specific for you, for your objectives, you have to start to learn somewhere. It starts with knowledge, and then it's building some skills. Al, when you were talking about dynamic 401k management, that's really being able to make better decisions in your portfolio. Now, we talk about self-directing, and there's a lot of people listening right now that are new to the markets and they don't really understand, I'm guessing anyway, what that really means, but how to do that. How does somebody actually roll a 401k? Do they got to call a bank, or do you have to phone home? You got to call ET. How do you do some of that stuff?
No, it's pretty easy to do, and we can help kind of guide people through that too. But it's just basically setting up an IRA, a self-directed IRA through one of the brokerage firms. All the discount brokers will probably offer those. Just make sure that it's something that you direct and that you have the availability of investing in the assets that you want. Some firms are maybe a little more restrictive, but if you want to trade futures, if you want to trade options, just make sure that that's available through the broker that you're looking at. It doesn't have to be the same company that is controlling your 401k. And really, the company that you're transferring those assets into does most of the work for you. So as long as it is a retirement account, a traditional or a Roth IRA, you can transfer that 401k money or 403b money without any penalty or without any tax consequence. At some point in time, the government's going to have their hand out and take the taxes from you, unless it's in a Roth account. But you want to make sure you don't incur any penalties when you do that. So instead of taking the 401k money in cash and then putting it into an account, just have it rolled over into a self-directed IRA.
Is there a fee to that?
No, typically there's no fee. If there's any fee, it would be just like a transfer fee that a firm might charge.
No penalties or anything,
There's no
right?
penalties.
Okay.
No, really. It's a very easy process. The work that you do to do it is basically filling out a form, and that's it. And then the work is done for you. But once you have that account set up, number one, you don't have any fees. So even if you don't do anything, you've already improved the potential returns that you have, or the potential value of that portfolio, because money is not being sucked out of it in the form of fees on a regular basis. Now you have the opportunity, if you have the proper education and you learn that timing component now, and that's really what's going to give you the confidence to be able to do that. That timing mechanism, that confidence, tied together with a risk management strategy, the elimination of the fees, the availability of many more choices, really gives you the opportunity to have something that can maybe carry you into retirement, being able to maybe improve your lifestyle a little bit. But just make sure that you're not letting money be siphoned away from your retirement accounts. It could be in the form of fees, or just in the form of a down market, a correction, or a bear market.
Yeah, the fees is that four-letter word that a lot of people want to understand how to get away from, and people are missing out on a lot of capital, unfortunately, in their retirement accounts because of those fees. Self-directing is a way to potentially lower or maybe even eliminate them. And it's just understanding how to do that, how to manage your 401k, how to have a strategy for your objective, whatever that's specific for you. And you have to do that. It would really now is the time to do that, because markets are at all-time highs. People that are investing, hopefully there is the most wealthy that they've ever been. Hopefully that's the case right now. But now is the time to protect it. Now is the time to understand, how can I make better decisions in there? Now, there's a lot of madness right now. And it's probably because it's March Madness. And I'm sure, I would say everybody listening right now probably has a bracket that's busted, but I need you to lift them up. You need to lift them up with some words of wisdom, not about March Madness, because we'll be watching basketball, but about the financial markets. Let's hear it today.
Okay, we often talk about people actually regretting more the things they didn't do than they did do. NerdWallet just did a survey, and they found that 7 out of 10 Americans expressed regret about their investment strategy and activities. 35% said they would have invested more, 16% more aggressively, 15% would have made more trades. The bottom line is that a lot of people are dissatisfied with their current situation. So if you could do things different over again, what would you have done differently? And maybe the market will give you that opportunity. Your intentions aren't going to get you where you want to be without action and direction.
Same time, same place next week as always. Retire young, my friends.